What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Jeremy Wormy, and we interesting topic. And I know I have Ant-Man and the Wasp pulled up right now, well, Quantumania, because I wanna point something out. It's kind of late for this news, but it has flatlined, completely flatlined. This weekend, it has only brought in about altogether maybe $7 million. So let's see. Yep, about $7 million is how much it brought in on its fourth weekend. It started dying out before. This is the end for Ant-Man and the Wasp. I don't think it's gonna break even at all. You can go over to international. How's the China box office doing? China box office might be their second biggest, but it ain't even bringing much in. I don't think this movie's gonna win. But because of this, people are starting to take note of something interesting. Come over here to the Independent, where it all went wrong for Marvel. Since the high points of the brilliant Avengers Endgame, reputation and predictability have dominated, sometimes less is more entertaining. You have Wyon, don't know who this is. MCU had a terrible 2022. What went wrong? What went wrong for MCU Phase 4? This is a Screen Rant article. What went wrong is pretty simple. Gary has coined the term Phase 4. Midnight's Edge have coined the term activists, what have you. But what it was, and I preferred this term that Gary also brought up, they were trying to bring in a people coming forward. Here's the new torch. Take it. Move forward. They were trying to, pass the torch, but what they did was they torched the past. I like that line. I don't remember where it came from. It was a BBC. What they decided to do was forget all the past characters, all the past comics. You have access to everything now. Make these stories correctly. What they decided to do was they went into more modern stories, more modern MCU more modern Marvel after Disney took over Marvel in 2012s, 2013s, what have you. Those comics barely ever sold. Those were not popular characters. Those were not good characters. And what else did they do? They started injecting their ideologies into it. They started ham-fisting all sorts of crazy stuff around. You can look at each of these movies and you can point out there's something weird here. We went from WandaVision, which, that's another good point, actually. Before I get into WandaVision and to Doctor Strange 2, you had the Disney Plus shows. You started showing that you needed to watch the Disney Plus shows, which were supposed to be supplemental material, in order to understand some of the interactions within the Marvel Universe. Again, you go, like I was trying to point out, WandaVision, where, again, she enslaves an entire city with, women and children. She enslaves an entire town, women, children, men, into a minefield, forces them to interact in her own little therapy session, and then when she tries to get stopped, she's told, they'll never know what you gave up for them. Because she had to give up her fake vision and her fake kids that do not exist. But that whole story, where she practically is a freaking villain, but no, she's a hero in that, wraps into Doctor Strange 2, where she is the villain now, but also is being shown that no, she's actually right. What she's doing is right. And also it's wrong because she's become the thing that scares her fake kids that she never had. We have all these weird stories, how they destroyed Thor, how they messed up Moon Knight. Moon Knight, nobody really even watched. Wakanda Forever was a disaster. I only watched two movies actually in Phase 4. Only two I actually paid for. That was Spider-Man not Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, Spider-Man No Way Home, and Wakanda Forever. I wish I only did Spider-Man. I watched Spider-Man because it was a Sony movie. That's not even technically an MCU property. That's a Sony property. They only get it's only part of the MCU and a little bit because of contractual agreements. They don't even have access to their main driver. The person that more than likely is the Marvel brand is Spider-Man. They don't even have that. So that's what started happening in Marvel Phase 4. Sequels for no apparent reason. Characters we didn't like getting movies, shows, what have you, But why actually address it? Why actually do anything about it? But only recently though are we actually getting people figuring out, hey, something's going on here. All because of this. And then we got this the other day. Bob Iger questions Marvel sequels being very careful with Star Wars because both Marvel and Star Wars are practically dead brands. You got Mandalorian season 3 going on right now. I have no interest to watch it. The only thing that actually is maybe a bit profitable from Star Wars is Grogu, which is a genocidal maniac. Marvel should still be a massive brand. It's not. It is a dying brand. You can look here. There's only going to be one Phase 5 movie that probably will do decent, and that's going to be Guardians. But that's because that's a Phase 3 movie. That's not Phase 5. But let's get into this. What we have to look at Marvel is not necessarily the volume of Marvel storytelling, but how many times we go back to the well of certain characters, Iger said. Sequels typically work well for us, but do we need a third or a fourth, for instance? Or is it time to turn to other characters? There's nothing in any way inherently off in terms of Marvel brand. I think we just have to look at what characters and stories we are mining. He's right. He's right and wrong. One, this is also the guy who recently greenlit, as my buddy Adam the Renaissance Nerd kind of kindly pointed out, and I forgot, greenlit Toy Story 5. He's been pushing all sorts of different stories right now. There's another one that's getting a sequel. Oh, Frozen 3. What else is getting a sequel now? Oh, they're going to what they know is safe, but they're going to still bastardize it. When it comes to what he's saying here, you're right. Don't really need a third or fourth all the time. Don't really need it. But I also gave the example of the Despicable Me universe with Minions. They're on their 5th movie and they're still profitable. What it is, though, is something else. Or is it time to turn to other characters? That's the question. Because it truly is time. The thing is, you have characters. You have plenty of characters to use in the Marvel. You have some really good characters. Luke Cage. You have Blade, even though the Blade movie might not be happening. Or is it a show? I don't remember. Because there's drama on set there. You have all sorts of really cool characters you could dive into. You have all sorts of very fun characters you can dive into. X-Men. Even though I don't want to see Wolverine anywhere on Disney Plus. I don't want to see Wolverine at all. I'm going to see it. I'm going to see Hugh Jackman Wolverine. I don't want to see it. That's one of the last few Marvel characters I actually like. Everybody else has pretty much been bastardized for me. We don't have... You have other characters you could use. You have other stories. You can use Storm. I can go down a whole entire list and pick something up and say, hey, why aren't you doing this? You're not going to, though. The thing is, though, or is it time to turn to other characters? You have been turning to other characters. What have those other characters been being? Black Panther Shuri now. You have She-Hulk. You have not Wakanda. American Chavez. You have Brie Larson, Captain Marvel. You have Nova. Not Nova. I can never remember the person's name. Monica Rambeau's character. I cannot remember her hero name. You have Miss Marvel. You have all the characters that you guys made for all new, all different, and they're failing. They're not succeeding. They're going in the toilet just like they did in the comics. This was never a winning idea. Here's the thing, though. They can't course correct. They're only going to double, triple down because this whole ideology stuff was started because of Bob Iger. Iger started this. He's trying to pawn it off on Chapek. He's trying to pawn it off on everybody else. This was his baby. This was his bread and butter. He bought all these properties. He pushed this stuff. He brought this stuff in here. He's the reason it's all going down. This was his ideology. He's the reason we have all these disasters that go through. He's the reason we're in this mess. How many times was this movie reshot? Multiple times, and it shows to the point that now it's flatlining. The only good Marvel movie that will be coming out this year, as it stands, Guardians 3. But that's a Phase 3 property that was supposed to come out before Avengers Endgame. before Infinity War and was actually supposed to introduce, just had his name, Adam Warlock. Guess what? It doesn't make sense to introduce Adam Warlock anymore. Infinity Arc's over. Why are we introducing Adam Warlock? Well, because he was already set up. Eternals, how did that go out? Oh, you set up more Eternal storylines? Well, it's kind of over there. Why are we doing any of this? Why are we doing any of these stories? Oh, because Bob Iger started this all. Now that he's back, he's trying to pawn it off on other people, trying to say, no, we're going to change. We're going to do other things. When in reality, they're crumbling all around. Disney is in a disaster. They're losing money. They're losing money hand over fist. And guess what's coming up the pipeline? Super Mario Bros. Universal. The Epic Universe over at Universal. That's what's coming up. Universal's set and is becoming set to take the stage to smash Disney to the ground and market share, to overtake Disney. There are just a few steps behind. And once that happens, we're going to see a change in Disney. Disney's not going to change overnight. None of this is going to happen overnight. But once they start hitting the bottom, because they're going to be the last ones to change. Once somebody's taken over them, once people are starting to do other stuff and saying, hey, we don't need to do this anymore, Disney will finally change, but it's going to be too late. Somebody else is already going to be the big dog. But let me get your guys' thoughts down in the comments below. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, share it out with your friends, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell for every time I put out a new video go live, guys. And I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.